Welcome back. Let's bring in our guest, a legal practitioner. Festus Ogung joins us right here in our Lagos studio. And, well, Festus, you've done, I don't think anybody has done this to the best of my knowledge, but you're the lawyer here. You help us understand. So to give our audience the background, he has sued Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu for blocking him on X. So I'm looking at the handle. The handle is Babajide Sanwo-Olu. Official handle of Babajide Sanwo-Olu, Executive Governor of Lagos State, former banker and public administrator. Let's build together. Give us the rationale behind your decision, because when we heard it, I was like, okay, this is the first, at least for me, I'm hearing this. What's going on here?
I've only approached the court to seek protection when I discovered that the governor of the state where I live and work as a legal practitioner singled me out and blocked me on X. It is my case that by blocking me on X, my right to freedom of expression has been breached, and my right to freedom from discrimination has been breached. I make the point that the right to freedom of expression, guaranteed under Section 39 of the Constitution, includes the right to receive information. So if it includes the right to receive information, all the official updates posted on the official handle of the governor of Lagos State can no longer be accessed by me. So it has violated that my right to freedom of expression, that my right to receive information. But that is not all. I'm also saying that, why was I singled out? Why was I targeted? Why was I haunted? We have so many persons that are on X, Lagos residents. We have about 20 million people living in Lagos. We have millions of people on X living in Lagos. You singled me out. You blocked me. Why did you block me? I was blocked, as far as I'm concerned, because of my criticism of his administration. So, by blocking me because of my political views, it is also a violation of my right to freedom from discrimination on the basis of political opinion, guaranteed under Section 42 of the Constitution. So, I'm only approaching the court to enforce my fundamental rights. That's all.
I must say that I had to quickly go to Twitter myself, or X as it is known now. I went to the handle just to be sure that I am not blocked. I can confirm to you that I'm not blocked.
I'm not blocked either.
Oh, good. So
I'm wondering why I'm blocked.
But, you know, this is it's very interesting because, you know, we saw this and it was a shocker, and it was quite interesting and intriguing as well, because I'm not sure I've heard that. I know that blocking is a thing online. People dash out blocking from time to time. I don't know if you've blocked people yourself. I make it a point of duty not to block people personally, because I'm like, you know what, it's social media. So I personally don't block people. As much as you get any attack, I don't block people, okay? I don't do all of that. So I found it quite interesting to see that the governor blocked you in that sense. So you said that you think it's because of your opinions.
Absolutely.
Some of the opinions you have expressed. So speak to us about some of those opinions. So maybe we can begin to understand if there's a possible rationale that makes sense behind this.
I would say that on the 20th day of October 2020, the governor made a post around morning or forenoon stating essentially that he has declared a curfew. And we know the implication of curfew. At that time, young persons in Nigeria were protesting.
That's your answer.
Hundreds of our people, young persons, were protesting at the Lekki toll gate. That information in respect of the curfew was posted on Twitter, on this official handle. Now, thereafter, in the evening of that day, armed forces were at the Lekki toll gate and shot sporadically at protesters. That was a massacre. Thereafter, we started demanding that the governor, His Excellency Governor Sanwo-Olu, the Chief of Army Staff, Buratai at the time, and the President of Nigeria, the late President Muhammadu Buhari, must be held responsible for the wanton violation of the rights of our people. People were killed, people died, several were injured. We're demanding accountability. On the issue of constituting a panel, we equally ask questions. On the white paper that was issued, we equally ask questions. So, when I saw that I was blocked, I felt, in all honesty, I felt haunted. I felt targeted. I do not feel safe that the governor of my state, where I live and work as a legal practitioner, has gone ahead to restrict my access to receive information. The point I labor to make is this. For us to know the importance of that handle, if I do not have access to the vital information that was vital safety information that was posted on the 20th day of October 2020, who knows whether I will be at Lekki toll gate and maybe I'll be a victim of the massacre that was unrepentantly perpetrated by the armed forces. This point is the very reason why I felt that there is a need for judicial intervention. Okay. If I was not given access to receive that information in respect of the curfew that the governor declared, who knows whether today I'll be with the angels.
All right. So, because the issue is in court, as you know, a lawyer, so that it's not subject to date.
No.
Oh, pardon me. Has it been filed in court? The case.
Oh, the case has been filed.
Has the date been fixed?
No date has been fixed for hearing.
So I want to also limit how much we can go. But I'm just looking. The reason I read his handle is to the fact that it's his personal handle, although he's a public figure. So there's a Lagos State government handle.
Absolutely.
I'm sure that may come up in court. But talk to us about, broadly speaking, about public officials and accountability and your perception of what it is. It is one of the reasons perhaps some people are calling for instance, the presidential level, how that will work, whether it will solve any problem, I do not know. But we admire what goes on in climes we see that those things happen, like the UK, where there's a parliament where the Prime Minister, I think every Wednesday or so, has to show up and face-to-face with the opposition bench, has to defend policies and decisions and programs made by government. So, not the one that we almost want to beg for a media pally. They will not show up for debates before election and all of this. Talk to us about public officials in Nigeria and their sense of being able to show accountability to the people and what can be done to make them understand. Not just Sanwo-Olu now, this case we're talking about because it's in court, generally, to understand that they serve the people.
Democracy thrives when there is accountability and transparency. It thrives when there is accountability and transparency. But it appears to me that the reason why the Nigerian political elites are not giving room for transparency is because of the decadence in the system and because of the issues of corruption and injustice that is everywhere. If they are to be accountable, then they are going to be exposing themselves, which is why they are not accountable to the people. And one of the pointers to a dying democracy is the consistent attack on dissent, on journalists, on the media, and on critics. And that is why in the past years, we've seen consistent attacks on freedom of expression. We've seen how journalists are arrested, bloggers are intimidated, people, young persons, vocal persons are, arrested. Some are even detained. Some are jailed under this, Cybercrime Act. And it has now gotten to the extent now that people who share divergent views are even now being blocked. These are signs of intolerance to criticism. These are signs of intolerance to accountability. So I drew my inspiration from the United States of America. Similar to what we have in court is a case that was instituted against Trump in 2017, and the US court made it clear that as a public office holder, you cannot block a citizen. I said, come, the root of our Constitution is linked to the United States system. So if we are saying we are practicing a democracy, then we cannot cherry pick on whether our leadership are going to be accountable to the people otherwise. Accountability and transparency is part and parcel of democracy, and our leaders cannot shy away from it.
That case has been very interesting because the Supreme Court, I think in 2021, wiped away the ruling that said that Trump violated Constitution by blocking Twitter followers.
Yeah.
But, it was good for jurisprudence, and I hope that it's something that would also help Nigeria's jurisprudence as well. First, for a lot of people who are wondering, what is this talk around Twitter ban? Twitter blocking. It means when you're blocked on Twitter, right, it means that you're not able to see the person who blocked the post of the person. I think you're not able to mention that person, if I'm correct. Am I correct? I've never been blocked, so it's hard to tell. But basically, it limits, so that's the court document, but it limits the way you're able to interact with the blocker. You can't definitely see the person's post because it tells you you'll be blocked by this person. You can't interact and all of that. When did you notice that you were blocked?
I noticed on the 13th day of March 2021.
Wow. That's 4 years ago.
I gave the government a benefit of doubt.
Wow. And you're seeking an apology?
Yes.
From the government or the governor this time around?
From the government.
What else are you seeking?
I'm seeking that I be unblocked, but I'm not asking for damages.
Why?
Because the matter was instituted for the interest of the public. We are trying to set a precedent for the Nigerian state in the digital era. It's not for the money. I'm not even asking for the cost of the suit. I'm not asking for the cost of the suit. I want to see that the governor of the state where I live and work unblocks me and hopefully apologize to me. And you mentioned the other time that the Supreme Court of the United States somewhere vacated the ruling. So
in 2021,
yes,
because Trump was no more president.
That was the point I want to clarify.
Yeah.
It's just like what we do in the Nigerian states. When you have a matter in court and it gets appealed, by the time the appeal is heard, the subject matter maybe has left office.
So it has been overtaken by events.
It has been overtaken by, it becomes academic. That was the reason why it was vacated.
But for the main, that's why I said it's good for the jurisprudence. For the period while the governor
this lawsuit is not about me. It's more about the democracy that we practice and our fundamental right jurisprudence in Nigeria.
And that brings me to the issue of our democracy. So I like the way the conversation is building, taking a life of its own. Because sometimes it looks like, I don't know whether for the masses or for the politicians or for us generally, do you think that from the legal point of view and our point of view, is democracy inconveniencing us?
I do not think so.
We're monarchical by nature, by our origin, by where we come from. We came from kingdoms ruled by kings and chiefs and all of that before civilization came and all of that. So they said culture will swallow strategy for breakfast. So do you think democracy is inconveniencing us in the real sense?
I do not think there is any substitute for democracy, if you ask me. I do not think so. The trouble is we've been burdened by sets of individuals that shouldn't be close to the seat of power. That's the challenge that we have. In my respectful view, the worst of us are those sets of persons that are leading us in the country, whereas we should be led by the best of us. Democracy is not overburdening us. What we have at best is a system that is ruled by a people who should never be found close to the corridor of power. If we have a set of individuals that are committed to the ideals of democracy, the principle of fairness, the principle of justice, the principle of equity, and with a sense of fear of God, we will not be here in this country. But what we have is a set of individuals that are only interested in political power, oppressing the poor, and enriching themselves at the slightest opportunity. If we have a set of individuals that are committed to the Nigerian project, we will be left to ask ourselves whether this democracy is working for us or this democracy is inconveniencing us. As far as I know, the Yoruba historical perspective will demonstrate to us that we have something close to democracy in our culture. Back in the days, we had something close to democracy, how we choose our king and what have you. So it is my respectful view that democracy as it were seem not to be working, not because of anything, but because of those in the seat driving the vehicle of our country. If we have a set of, very committed persons, I think the narrative will be different and our democracy will be better for it. But those that are currently, in the helms of our fear, I do not even think they believe in democracy. They do not believe in democracy. But they benefit from the democratic structure. But the way and manner the country is being governed appears not to be in line with the spirit and ideals of democracy, equity, justice, fairness.
Well, very important points, because this question is not just about the Twitter or the X block.
Absolutely.
It's even bigger than that, but it's a very important part. Yeah. Is any other government official or government parastatal that has blocked you?
Well, for now, none. To my knowledge.
To your knowledge.
And I do not think I should be blocked.
Because I'm really shocked. Even private individuals don't block people.
I want to make another point. I made it clear the other time that there is a growing intolerance for dissent and criticism, as it were. It has now gone beyond, digital surveillance of activists, journalists, investigative reporters. It has now gone beyond arresting them under the Cybercrime Act. It has now gone beyond, detaining them. It has now gone beyond enforced disappearance. The sense of censorship, this crackdown dissent has now penetrated into the digital space. We are now seeing cases of, controlling and censoring free speech by using, regulations that are targeted towards, the big techs. So we now have, regulations by NITDA saying that, oh, you must report, you must bring down this post. In fact, there is a regulation by NITDA saying that when the Nigerian state makes a report asking any of these big techs to take down any social media account over a post, they have to do that without giving options for review. These are critical issues of, critical issues that is capable
Is it on the premise of national security? What is the premise here?
There is no, in that very regulation, there's essentially no basis. What the regulation says is that when such report is made, so long as it violates an existing law, then the big tech has to take the post down. The question is, who does the big 10 has the discretion to review whether the report that the authorities make has violated any law? So, aside from using regulations, arresting, we have now gone to a stage where the authorities are now, because they are so intolerant to criticism, they are so allergic to criticism, they are now blocking citizens. But my case is not, secluded. A law firm has just been briefed. I mean, someone blocked by INEC for supporting a rival, political figure. That will be in court very soon.
Interesting days ahead. But dissent is a part of democracy, and we must allow dissenting voices.
So as we begin to wind, in fact, it just reminds me of the days of God rest his soul, Muhammadu Buhari, the incident of Twitter, and that's he said they suspended his account or something like that. And then the honorable minister then was telling us several other things that we found out to be funny stories. Eventually, because all the things they said, Twitter must come and open shop, and we've not seen anything happen. So that's another kettle of fish. But we won't let you go. You're a lawyer, and I know you're very familiar with local government administration. You've spoken broadly about the one in Osun State, and also now this is happening in Rivers State. What do you make of these two situations? Osun State, for instance, there's issue of FAC allocation not being funds not being sent because of two contending forces, the APC and the PDP. And then Rivers, under an emergency rule, there are so many legalese and breaches, some of them, we don't even understand what's going on. And then constitutional issues, some are even in court. Elections are held, some numbers that we can't really be clear about. What do you make of all of this?
Look, our country remains a risk unless and until we find the courage to resist these anti-democratic tendencies. In Osun State, the federal government is subverting democracy. Clearly, there is a clear subversion of democracy. The position is very clear. The judgments are very clear. So why are you not, sending them allocation? What empowers them to withhold the allocation that belongs to the good people of Osun State? There is no legal, there's no moral, there's no constitutional basis why the allocation should be withheld. And let's come to Rivers State. Whenever I think about Rivers State,
if you can do that in 30 seconds because of time,
my spirit gets to break. And the reason essentially is because there is, again, no legal basis for the suspension of the governor. Not just that, the president lacks the power to suspend the governor. Can you conduct an election when the persons that were to conduct to constitute the Rivers State Electoral Commission under the electoral law in Rivers State are to be appointed by the governor? They are not appointed by the governor. Can you put something on nothing and expect it to stand? What we are seeing in Rivers State, or what we saw happened on Saturday, one, is a waste of the people's resources, because the resources of the people were pumped into that election, which should never have been held. Secondly, it's a charade, because that election was not conducted by a valid set of individuals.
Well, thank you so much, Festus Ogunwule, and we're happy the case, will I say we're happy? At least this should be tested in court.
No, I'm not, please, let me make it clear. I'm not testing the law. I'm enforcing my rights.
Whatever the intent is good for jurisprudence, so that at least it can be referenced.
Absolutely.
That maybe somebody was blocked by a governor, and then this judgment said this, that, and the other, so we can use this as a basis for future cases. First, as a legal practitioner, thank you for coming on the program. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.